Yo, what's up? What's up? Anybody that's chimed in? I'm here. I'm here. Oh, Walker. Walker in early tonight. Yo, feel free to jump into the comments. So, tonight is what am I trying to say here? Just heard the pod. What did you think? How was the pod? I'm gonna just say so my son actually has a science quiz tomorrow, so I actually have to go over his science words for him tomorrow, science vocab. So I'm probably gonna pop out of here probably like 9:40 tonight. So we're gonna be in and out tonight. We got a couple hot topics to talk about. Oh, Mimi's here, my favorite person. Appreciate that, Walker. I appreciate it, man. I can't really say I could take your word for it though. You would not be what I would consider a objectionable listener. Let me go ahead and turn my alerts off on my phone. Hey, I do have a surprise for y'all next week. Next week, I'm gonna be going live next Wednesday, Lord willing, out of town, and I think that we're going to. I think we're gonna bring in the travel blog portion to Black Dads Club to go ahead and blow us up. So I'm gonna actually go and retrace my last 5 years of travel. So every place that I've been, I'm gonna go back to those same places. We're gonna vlog it, put it together. Mimi say you better have some good internet. You know what? Funny enough, I did not double check to make sure I was gonna have Wi-Fi in the space. I'm almost certain that I did that on day one, but I can't say that I went back and double checked because I have not sent them my passport yet. I need to do that tomorrow. I need to send them my passport. And I actually have a brother going with me this time. So y'all know typically I travel by myself because I'm a solo traveler. I don't mind it. And the blog for Black Dads Club, for the travel blog, is actually going to be solo traveling. I enjoy it. I know a lot of people do not enjoy solo traveling. I actually do. I find it to be invigorating would not be the right term. Or maybe it is. Maybe I do find it invigorating. So, but I find it, it's exciting would be what I would say. Like I actually enjoy going places by myself because when you by yourself, you do have to be intentional, right? You got to know where you're going, what you're doing, what you're eating, what activities you're going to do. And since you're by yourself in a foreign country, typically you have to keep your head on the swivel. So you pay attention more. You see more colors. So I'm actually going to start. First I'm gonna stop using so many filler words when I'm speaking. But the second thing I'm going to do is actually start vlogging whenever I travel along. So I know y'all see the PJ Washington clip up. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to dive into, y'all know I oftentimes, because this is a male-centered podcast, and I know black men are constantly gaslit, we're going to speak a little bit on Feminism Night, a clip that I had saw. It actually wasn't reposted by Dr. Tommy Kirk. Oh, gosh. You know what? Matter of fact, that's actually what I should have played tonight. Maybe because we've been waiting for the. Maybe it's going to happen. I'm probably going to need your assistance because I do see that there are some cheap flights to Iceland out of Raleigh. So if I go, Iceland, I probably will go with someone. Iceland probably won't be a solo trip. Probably do need a travel partner for that. But how y'all doing tonight? How's everybody doing? So Wednesday, we've had Labor Day. Fall is here. I am not a fan of the fall weather. I'm a fan of football season. I am not a fan of that chill that comes in the air at the beginning of fall. I'm not. I do look forward to the state fair in South Carolina because, I get to take my son because he wants to go. And then immediately once we're there and we spend lots of money, he instantly wants to leave. But I do enjoy that part, right? State fair, football. Struggling. I've been struggling this week too, man. Like, I'm already in vacation mode. I ain't even gonna lie. And I have pretty decent amount of work this week. Tomorrow's actually gonna be a busy day for me because I'm trying to knock everything out. So tomorrow's actually gonna be a pretty busy day. But I'm trying to knock everything out so I can actually take vacation and not have to answer emails or take phone calls, which typically does not happen because the world's connected now. So no matter where you are in the world, if somebody needs something and you get that email and you know that you have the answer to it and someone else is going to screw it up, you typically have to chime in for an hour every day, even on vacation. So I don't get mad when I like, take time off to have extended lunch breaks and things of that nature. But I appreciate y'all coming in, man. Appreciate y'all coming in. Y'all know I always start with the talent acquisition tip of the week. And if you've been here for several weeks, some of this might be repetitive, but a lot of this is worth repeating. I'm on like a lot of Reddit recruiting pages, job hacks pages, things of that nature. And people are constantly complaining about how hard it is to get a job right now, which this is the case. You voted this administration in. You've made the economy a technocracy, for lack of a better term. So you don't really have the leverage. AI is taking over. We have no laws whatsoever for AI. So a lot of entry-level jobs people are doing now, basic coding jobs that, used to hire people for and pay them $80,000, $90,000 a year. It's actually being done by vibe coding now, which is not good. But a lot of what we're dealing with right now is, the new economy. So I know a lot of people are complaining about like, hey, can't really find a job. And this, honestly, you're moving into a new world of jobs now. This is not the old world of jobs. One thing that have always stuck with me, it was a story that I was told, this is years ago. And it was like, when automobile was invented, it's probably the wrong word, but when it started being mass produced, you had a lot of people that had horses, and you had a lot of people that had a lot of people that could afford automobiles. They didn't have automobiles. They could afford automobiles. And so you still had a lot of horses and automobiles on the road at the same time. And in New York City, New York's high union state, and one of the things that they would do in New York City is have unions, right? New York is still popular for that to this day. New York State, but New York City especially. And the largest union at the time was the horse crap scoopers, right? People literally that would scoop horse crap out of the street. I'm trying to stop on my cursing because TikTok would not let you on with cursing. And I can't go live on TikTok because I have a potty mouth. My mom would be very disappointed. But anyway, that was the largest union. The largest union in New York City at the turn of the century was the people that would scoop horse crap out of the street. And you know who was against automobiles the most during that time frame? Yeah, you guessed it, right? The horse scoop crap union. That union no longer exists today, right? But I think we all would agree that we'd rather drive in automobiles than ride horses. And that's what innovation does. That's what technology does. It destroys an old industry and it creates a new industry. And you're at that time frame right now with artificial intelligence, right? You're at a time frame where a lot of jobs that you had, even jobs that was new in the last 20 years, that was good jobs, right? Like scooping horse poop was a really good job. Those jobs are going to go away. So what you're going to have to find are jobs that can resist AI, right? So a lot of that will be STEM field, right? So STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Mathematics people are going to always exist because no one wants to do math. Engineering jobs are always going to be there for people that want to be engineers. Tech jobs are going to be constantly changing though, right? Constantly changing technology jobs. So jobs that was coders might be something else now. But one of the things that I would like to do in the near future is change, the S from STEM from just science jobs, right? Science would include all the biologies, right? All the sciences, right? Geology, biology, chemistry, right? Those roles are going to always exist, right? Well, chemistry jobs may not exist due to AI. But a lot of those jobs won't exist. But one of the things that we need to do is turn the S into sales, right? I need a lot of my brothers to understand sales jobs are not going anywhere. AI will never be able to work in sales. It will never be able to read a human. It'll never be able to understand if a human. They'll try it, right? But a lot of bros, if you want to change careers right now, you got trades and you have sales. Those are the two places to kind of really switch careers real fast. So if you can't fight progress, and if you see a lot of, you're like, oh, it's really, really hard to get a job. Think about sales. Think about sales. That's an industry that I would love that Afro Americans, Black Americans, African Americans, whatever, FBA, IDOs, indigenous, blacks, whatever you want to call yourself, right? I'd really like if brothers really moved into those roles. And like sales jobs are not easy jobs. I equivocate it to engineering, because if you're good in sales, you're going to make as much money as engineers. And the biggest thing that I think that you need to realize, like with sales, because sales is kind of seen as something like, everybody think of sales and they think used car salesman. And that's not what tech sales guys do. That's not what tech sales or tech account managers do, right? It's not secondhand car sales. It is a technical job, but it's a job where you really have to have a high EQ, right? Not IQ. You need to have a high IQ, obviously, or decent IQ, but you got to have a high EQ. That's what salespeople excel at, right? Very high emotional intelligence. And most Black American men actually have a high emotional intelligence level, and you would excel in sales. So don't be afraid. If you need to change careers, man, like if you've been blocked out of an industry, don't be afraid to move into a sales role. Don't be afraid, like whatever that sales is, right? I don't care if it's roofing sales, whatever it is, right? Don't be afraid to move into a sales role and use that mouthpiece, man. That's what Black men are known for, right? We're known for talking trash on the basketball court. We're known for talking trash when we're playing Call of Duty, right? These are all engagements with human beings, right? Don't be afraid to look at yourself and say, hey, I've been a teacher for 12 years, right? Could I sell educational software? Do not be afraid of that. And don't be afraid of moving over into that field so you can actually get paid. Because once you become good in sales, like once you get 2-3 years of sales under your experience under your belt, because you're going to come in a crappy industry. Like you're going to be doing roof sales, right? Or you're going to be doing small business sales for a telecom company, or a safety company, right? Selling PPE, right? Personal protection equipment. Those are really good jobs, right? Granger is a really good company, right? And you're going to be selling, PPE, right? Tool companies. It's right. It's not a sexy sale, right? Selling tires, right? If you can get on with a tire company, Continental, Michelin, Goodrich, and these might all be the same company by now, but don't be afraid of it. If you need to change careers, like if you're having a hard time getting a job, don't be afraid to move into the sales world, because a lot of people are afraid to move into the sales world because gosh, I can't curse, because they're full of crap, right? But they do it on a daily basis. Don't be afraid to change industry and move into sales, right? It's going to be hard in the beginning. First 2 years, it's going to be hard because you haven't done it before. But once you get that experience under your belt, companies are still going to be hiring salespeople. So that's my talent acquisition tip for the night of changing careers and moving into sales. Now, what we're going to hop into for the first part is Black Dads Club. If you here, chances are you are a dad or a future dad, and it's a good chance based upon the statistics that, you're no longer married. So you're going to have to start co-parenting. So we're going to start it tonight with the clip from PJ Washington and Brittany Renner. Let's let it play.
Okay, hold on, pause. This is what we're not doing. So every time that he does this, I'm going to record this. Because that's not okay. I'm just letting you know. No, the thing is, this is the third time he's done it. This is the third time he's done it. He doesn't want to go with you. So actually show up and do something then with him. Because he does this every time. No, it's not. No, it's not. It ain't because he's got a baby soon. You gonna give him his bag and stuff?
That's terrible. 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, no, it's not that at all. No, it's not. Yeah, I will. But I'll tell you right now, every single time you come here, you need to lie, we're gonna record that.
Now she's recording this because every time PJ picks up the kid, the baby's crying, right? And a lot of times, I hate that mothers do this sometimes. But when the mother's energy is off, the kid notices, right? Children want to please the parents, even when they're very, 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 very small. So her energy is off, so the kid is upset because why? Mom is upset, right? But I want you to notice what happened as soon as he puts this kid in the car seat.
Hey, it's up with me. Just know that it's up.
What'd you say?
All right. Can you hear the crying anymore? Right? The crying is gone. All right. Do you know why the crying is gone? Because the kid is no longer receiving the energy from the mother. The kid is now receiving the energy from the father.
What'd you say?
I didn't stutter.
I didn't hear you say it again.
Suck my dick.
If you have
Don't do this. All right. PJ is still in his 20s. I get it. You're frustrated. You're upset. This is something that he'll learn. This will be something that he'll look back on and he will be embarrassed about. I'm not saying that he's wrong for saying it. I get where that energy comes from, right? When you're coming to get your son and it's always complicated and it's complex and you're like, I got to do this, right? Because I want to see my kid, right? I want my child to spend time with me. But by picking up my child, I also has to deal with my son's mother, right? So this portion when he's saying like, yo, suck it, right? This is wrong, right? But what I want you to notice here, right? I want you to listen. I just listen for a sec.
Hey, it's up with me. Just know that it's up.
What'd you say?
I'd love to. What'd you say?
I didn't stutter.
I didn't hear you say it again.
Suck my dick.
I hate that he said this part because it was so clear how fast that energy changed when that child was now in the possession of his father. And this is something that I think sometimes as men, as fathers in split homes that are sharing custody, that we don't understand, right? Because when the kid is crying, you're like, yo, you can't be gaslit into believing like, dang, man, my child don't want to spend time with me, right? And you think it's because like they don't want to be with me. That's not what's happening. What's happening is that kid is taking the energy from the house, right? And that child, even though they're small, they understand. And here's the thing. If you pay attention to your children, the older that they get, you'll start seeing it more clear if you get out of the fight, right? And that's why I always try to tell guys like, yo, get ahead of custody. Get ahead of like, yo, get in front of that judge, man. I know we don't want that man in our business, right? But without that order, right? Like what chance would PJ have picking up his child right now if he did not have a court order? Right? Scale 1 to a million. What % chance would he have to pick up his child? Right? Probably 0. But with that court order, at least you can pick up your kid. But what's happening is the energy is off from mom. Mom has the child energy off, right? And it's very easy for us to think I have the child energies off. I'm taking this kid out of a place that they want to be in, right? And the truth of the matter is that child wants to be with both parents, right? But we've ruined that. Like, let's just be clear, right? We've ruined that. Kid cannot be with both parents. We've already decided. Kid's gonna be with his mom sometime. Kid's gonna be with his father sometimes, right? So the child feels that energy, right? But I want you to notice that the moment that child got in that car seat and he's about to go over there and play with his other 2 brothers, right? The energy's gone. And it's something that most men that have dealt with split homes that have court orders, you deal with it, right? And the flip side of this is when he drops the child off, I guarantee they're not recording that, but I guarantee you that kid is doing the exact same thing that they're doing right now, which is crying. I guarantee it, right? They're not going to record that. And PJ doesn't really strike me as a petty person, so he's not going to record it because who wants to show that? Who wants to show that your kid is crying when they leave you, right? So when we get into these split home situations, which oftentimes are in due in part to ourselves, not meaning that you did anything, wrong or exacerbated a problem, but you did choose their mother, right? And you chose the situation that you ended up in. So a lot of times you're dealing with this, and it's very easy to be like, well, gosh, man, I wonder if my child really wants to be with me. I assure you they do. But the same way the child wants to be with you as the father, that child also wants to spend time with their mother. And when they're with their mother, they want to spend time with their father. Why? Because we're supposed to be in one home together. I get it. That really doesn't happen anymore, right? We can change that. We haven't had that conversation yet because the internet doesn't do nuance. But the biggest thing that I want everybody to take from this is like, yo, that child went from a crying child to being locked into a car seat, into a confined space where it's not going to be able to move for the next 20, 30 minutes minimum, right? And they're fine, right? Get to your kids, get court orders so you can get to your kids, and don't engage in the fight, all right? Brittany is willing to risk everything in this fight right now, right? She doesn't care if it blows up. She don't care if it explodes. She don't care if they get into an altercation. You know how I know this? Let's let it play.
If you had one, maybe I would. Pussy ass
Hey,
bitch.
wish I would, bitch.
Pussy ass. What the fuck you looking at? Get your bitch ass out my driveway, ho.
You don't pay for shit.
Fuck you.
You don't pay for shit either. $170,000 to your home, put $11,000 in your son's
That's what she really mad at.
bank account. $11,000 in your son's bank account, but $170 for that bitch.
Get out your car. Get out the car. Get out the car. Come on.
All right. Last thing that I want to point out, right? And we're using PJ Washington as an example because it's the most recent example, right? Brittany isn't mad at PJ. She isn't mad at Miss Chanel, right? What she's mad at is she doesn't have what she has. She's not concerned about the child right now. She's concerned about, man, I'm living a good life, right? I mean, like, if you look at the neighborhood, right? Like, this is not a bad neighborhood. Like, look at the house across the street.
This is the third time he doesn't want to go with you. So
Right.
this is the third time he's done it.
Like, look at the house across the street. This isn't a bad neighborhood. This is a very upper middle class neighborhood, right? She's not doing bad, right? But what she's not doing is she ain't doing Escalade good, $1 million neighborhood good, right? That is what she's mad at. She's mad at herself. And when you engage into the fight, you're fighting something. You think you're fighting her. You're not fighting her. You're fighting her hopes and dreams and missed opportunities. You're not going to win that fight, fellas. All right? You can never defend yourself against the imagination, right? It's one of the things I used to always say. You can't defend to pretend, right? What she's made up in her mind, you can't defend against that. You cannot defend against an imagination. The best thing to do is to just not engage in the fight. Get your kid. Hey, hope y'all have a good day. Blah, blah, blah. The niceness is going to be the most vitriol thing you can do, right? Wait, when he told her, like, yo, suck my, that's feeding into what she wants, right? Because what she wants is for this opportunity to explode. Now, she's off a rocker because they thought this video was negative, and it ended up not being negative for PJ, which is why they're pulling it down every time I had to go refine this video because every blog that is on is coming off. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing I'm saying, all right, Pastor Mike Will from Black Dads Club, biggest thing that I want you guys to focus on is, like, always remember, man, focus in on the kids. And don't ever think that because a kid is upset when you pick them up or drop them off, that has anything to do with you or the other parent. It could, right? But don't get gaslit into it, right? Most of the time it's because that child, when they're with their mom, children want to do what makes their parents happy, right? Now, kids also want to do what they want to do, which is why we get annoyed with them. But ultimately, the kids want their parents to be happy, right? Like when I interact with my son, right? At the end of the day, he wants to please me. It's just that sometimes the things that it takes to please me is hard, right? So it's easier to not do it than to do it. But at the end of the day, if it was easy to please me, that's all he would do, right? But when I say, hey, I really want you to make a 90 on your quiz tomorrow, right? That's a little bit harder for him, right? So when I say, hey, we got to study tonight, right? We got to go back over your science vocabulary, right? For him, I don't know if I really want to do that. right? But at the end of the day, what the kids ultimately want to do is to please their parents. But as a human, they want to do what's easy, right? So when his child is crying, he's not crying because he doesn't, want to be with his father. He's crying because his mother's energy is off. And if you're in a situation where the mom's energy is constantly off, right? And I'm being as kind with my words as I can possibly be tonight because I'm trying to prep myself so we can get on TikTok so we can grow the channel. And I had to stop cursing. You're right. If the mother's energy is constantly off as the father, you're going to have to be that calming force and the calming energy. PJ did not do anything per se wrong. He should not have said suck my, but I mean, again, PJ is young. I get it. He's frustrated. He's having to deal with a very combative baby mama. But as men, the biggest thing that I want you guys to take from this is why you get custody orders, because without that custody order, he's not going to be able to get his son. She's not going to just say, you know what? I want you to get your son today. That ain't going to happen. But anyway, welcome to the Black Dads Club. No, we ain't going to hop on that one yet. We're going to hop on that one at the end. I'm going to let the ladies fall off before I talk about feminism tonight. I ain't even going to fight with y'all like that. Let's see here. Oh, I actually left out. Rebel actually Royce White speaking there. Mimi say, go ahead and play it. No, I'm gonna let you go to sleep, Mimi.
Story that a girl told that I think about all the time. She was at the mall. She didn't have her hair done, nails done, face done, didn't have on a great outfit, but she's the type of girl who's always done that. A man comes up to her at the mall. He says, "You're so beautiful. I'd love to get to know you more. Let's exchange information." She thinks he's attractive, but she turns him down. Her reasoning was the most mind-blowing thing ever to me. She said that because he was interested in her while she looked a little bit run down and unkept, she knows that man is not her type. The type of man she likes would never go for a woman who does not look well kept. And that makes perfect sense. The type of woman that a man goes for will determine if he's actually your type. You are lying if you say that you couldn't look at a list of women that a man has been with and say, oh yeah, you're not gonna like me. Because you know what type of women are similar to you and which aren't. She was saying, if you like me while I look like this, you don't like me for real. Because this isn't how I usually look. This is the exception. You aren't going to like the rule. It has literally stuck with me forever. So,
I'm going to play this back for y'all. Because I don't think y'all understand the mental illness that is rampant in our community.
Would never go for a woman who does not look well kept. And that makes perfect sense. The type of woman that a man goes for will determine if he's actually your type. You are lying if you say that you couldn't look at a list of women that a man has been with and say, oh yeah, you're not going to like me.
First off, how are you going to find a list of women that I've been with? Right? And then been with. I need you to be more specific here, right? Been with as in 2 o'clock in the morning, been with, or been with as in women that I've taken to Playa del Carmen. Because those are two different sets of women. All right? Just being transparent here, right? I'm talking to the fellas here, not talking to the ladies, talking to the fellas, right? The reason why we go for a woman when we see her and she's dressed down, because we're like, yo, that's what she looks like in the morning. And I like what she looks like in the morning. So I know it's up from here, right? So when you're dressed down, it is up from here, right? And when you get to your top, right? So if I get my hair cut, throw on a suit, smell good, got an expensive watch on, spending a bunch of money, right? Yeah, I know you like me, right? But you know when I know you really like me? If I'm in the grocery store in the meat department and you're like, hey, I like you, right? That's a more authentic like. All right? This right here, fellas, this is a red flag. By the way, this young lady we're listening to right now, you see that? She got an Ann Arbor, Michigan shirt on. I'm pretty sure she's wearing that on purpose. I'm pretty sure that she goes to school there or she's alumni, right? This is a brilliant woman. This is an intelligent woman, right? This is an attractive woman, right? Now she got the lashes. She done her makeup for her TikTok. teeth done, eyebrows done, right? And she's like, hey, everything that I've done, right? The Michigan degree, right? The veneers, the $150 makeup beat, I don't know how much lashes cost. However much that costs, right? The nails, she need to fill in. But anyway, right? Like the nails being done, right? She's saying that's me, right? And what men are saying is like, yo, that's a version of you. That ain't you, right? You, it's what I wake up with in the morning. That's who you are. So what men are saying is like, yo, when I see who you are and I like you, yo, you can give me the better version. I like it. I like the better version. But that ain't you.
Because you know what type of women are similar to you and which aren't. She was saying, if you like me while I look like this, you don't like me for real. Because this isn't how I usually look.
And that is mentally ill because that is how you usually look. Right? 75% of the time, that's going to be how you usually look. How you look, right? You are not waking up with these lashes and eyebrows and makeup. Right? That's not how you look. How you look would be how I catch you. And again, right, that's a compliment. Don't fall in this red flag trap, fellas. Don't fall for it.
This is the exception. You are going to like the rule. It has...
Let's play it again. All right? Just right here. Right here.
You are lying if you say that you couldn't look at a list of women that a man has been with and say, oh yeah, you're not going to like me. Because you know what type of women are similar to you and which aren't. She was saying, if you like me while I look like this, you don't like me for real. Because this isn't how I use perfect sit.
Let's play it back.
The type of woman that a man goes for will determine if he's actually your type. You are lying if you say that you couldn't look at a list of women that a man has been with and say, oh yeah, you're not going to like me. Because you know what type of women are similar to you and which aren't. She was saying, if you like me while I look like this, you don't like me for real. Because this isn't how I usually look.
This is not how you usually look. This right here, not how you usually look. Maybe say lashes about $50 to $100, right? This is not how you usually look. This right here is you put together, right? How you usually look is probably not like this, right? Fellas, it's a red flag, right? If anybody's telling you like, hey, this is how I usually look, I assure you, they're not waking up in the morning like this. They're not. It is impossible. Even if you had a very, very high income, I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, right? You're getting your nails done twice a week. You're getting your hair done once a week. You're getting your makeup done every Saturday morning, right? Or Friday morning, right? Maybe Thursday if you really, really banking money like that, right? That's not how you usually look. That's what you're walking into, right? So if you ever run across this is 100% a red flag, okay? Make sure you don't move forward.
It has literally stuck with me forever, so I wanted to share. This is a story.
But anyway, I just wanted to play that because I know we typically talk about dating, on this pod. So I wanted to go through that. Speaking of pods, new pod just dropped. And I know when I come on here, I know I'm gonna tell y'all if it was a really good pod. I'll tell y'all guys like, yo, this right here is an A+ pod. This is an A- pod. This is a B+ pod. We haven't really dropped below B+ this year. Yo, this year, like, real talk. We don't go listen to last year. Last year is good. Year before last, decent, right? 2025, bruh, knocking it out the park. Knocking it out the park this year. Like, no way possible that we're not one of the top pods by midsummer of next year. All right. But this week's pod, we dropped it. Let's see. This week's pod is going to be the main cracker. Got to listen to it to understand what the main cracker is. It's actually pretty funny. It's not what you think it is. We started off talking about Social Proof podcast, one of the largest black podcasts in the black manosphere. I guess he would be on the finance manosphere side for the black. It's going out of business, and how much these numbers are inflated. We discussed whether or not women are a reflection of their men. Y'all know me. I always take both sides to say where's yes, where's no. We actually, if you want to talk more about PJ and Brittany Renner, we actually spent about 10 minutes discussing that on the pod. So if you want, you can skip to the 25-minute mark. Probably when the pod really, really gets in. Actually, our Women of Reflection and Men is actually really good as well. Let's see here. Then we went to Ray Lewis not being a friend to Shannon Sharp. Then we discussed who's dropping Young Thug's jail call. Young Thug is on probation for 10 years. His attorney needs to call and remind him of that. Because I don't know if he's going to make it. Then we go from 5 minutes, we discussed, would you rather date a stripper or a bottle girl? I said I didn't know if I was going to discuss if I could date either. Right. And then we ended the pod with sports, talking about college football. So this week pod, I would definitely say it's an A- pod. So y'all know B+ is where I say like, yo, that's a bad pod for us this year. This was an A- pod. Well, I would say it's an A+. We've had better pods this year, but definitely check out this week's pod whenever you get a moment. And the last thing that I want to dive into tonight, you know, and before we dive into it, let me see here. Where is it? I hate when things go off my screen. All right, let me see here. Where is it? All right. Gavin actually said that he would rather a stripper. I think I would rather a bottle girl. I said neither, but if I had to choose, and I don't think I chose on the pod, but I do think I would choose a bottle girl. Oh man, these notes are not going to act right. Let me see here. Last thing we're going to discuss tonight, though. Let me say, we're going to discuss Representative Martha Wright Griffins. Or you know what? Here. This is what I'm going to do. I want to show y'all something before I play it. I want to pull up something for y'all real quick. A lot of y'all oftentimes think that I'm being a misogynist when I go so hard in on feminism. But one of the things that I want to make sure that everybody understands is that feminism job isn't it's not to protect women, right? It doesn't care about women at all. But let me play this clip for you real quick. All right. Now, what I want y'all to understand is that who I'm about to play right here is this lady right here. Martha Griffiths was a United States representative, right? So she was in the House. She was in the House of Representatives. She was a Michigan member of the Democratic Party. And I want you to look at this part right here, right? Look at this part right here, right? I don't know if you can see that, but it says she was instrumental in including the prohibition of sex discrimination under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. All right. So a lot of times when we talk about feminism, it's always about, it's about women's rights. And what feminists have done is convince black women that black women were under the thumb of black men and that black men are members of the patriarchy. You know, I always tell y'all, I'm not even going to take credit for being members of the patriarchy. We are not, right? And this right here, this little tidbit is a little reminder that black men are not members of the patriarchy, right? So I want you to listen to this part real quick. All right.
You've been in Congress. But I think perhaps most important was the one that added sex to the bill.
Now, I want you to look at the date here, right? 1971, right? Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964. Now, even though it was passed in 1964, please keep in mind that it did not go into effect in 1964. All right. Dr. King was murdered in, I believe, 1968, right? Civil Rights Act started being implemented in 1968 because the riots broke out across the United States, due in part to Dr. King being murdered, right? So even though the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964, right, they did not enact any legislation, anything on it. So think back to Reconstruction and think back to like how much blacks excelled and progressed. And then when they took the Union troops out of the South, Jim Crow was implemented, right? So remember, right, nothing is done in this country without violence, right? Nothing is done, right? So having troops in the South, right, is a form of violence, right? Symbolic violence, even though they're not killing, anybody down here, right? But the Civil War, they did, right? They were burning down farms, the plantations, things of that nature. A very interesting part of history. If you ever actually look at the Civil War, look at the Civil War and just read Sherman papers. Just read that. You don't have to read anything else. General Sherman, right? Read Abraham Lincoln on when he decided to let General Sherman lead the Union forces, because he did not want to let General Sherman lead the Union forces in the beginning, because General Sherman was an asshole. Are we late enough? Okay. All right. I don't think asshole is a curse word. But anyway, one of the things that you find out is that the moment that they took the Union troops out, the South ushered in Jim Crow. All right. Fast forward to the 60s, Civil Rights Act 1964. Nothing is done under the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And one of the things I always remind people is that Title IX, right? She's going to discuss Title VII, but Title IX was birthed out of Title VII, Title IX. All these things are basically birthed out of the work that black men did to create a society that was equal, right? So this woman, right, you see her name, right? Representative Martha Griffiths, right? We see who that is, right? And let's remember, she's instrumental in including the prohibition of sex discrimination under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Now, I want you to listen to her words, right? Because oftentimes when I say this, everybody gets upset with me because they think that I'm bashing feminism, and I'm not. All right, I want you to listen to her words.
1964. This bill was drafted really to bill of 1964. This bill was drafted really to help Negroes. Now, it wasn't clear.
Who was the bill drafted for? Negroes, right? Civil Rights Act of 1964. Who is this bill drafted for? According to this white lady who is a House representative. She's speaking in 1971. It's 7 years later. Who did she say it was drafted for? Black people. But let's go.
It would have meant that Negro women would have been given rights that were not available to white women.
What was her issue with the bill? She said that the bill was written in a way that it would have given rights to black women that was not available to white women, right? This is why I tell y'all, don't fall for this feminist BS, right? Because when they tell you that, hey, black men want to be the white men of society and black men want to hold back black women, right? Here we have a white woman that's saying that, hey, in the Civil Rights Act, if everything would have went according to plan, right, the black women would have had more rights than white women. So let me ask a question. Was black men holding white women down? No, that's impossible. It was coming out of an apartheid, right? Was black men holding black women down? Well, no, she just admitted that they have rights due to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So that means that black men would not have had any power to hold black women down, right? But she's saying that the Civil Rights Act of 1964, because of the environment that black women have been in, right? Because they would no longer be discriminated against, and because no one's holding them down in their community, in their own community. She is saying, right? Listen to her words.
Not available to white women.
Right? They would have had rights that was not available to white women. Again, who is holding white women down? This is why whenever I see black women say they are feminists or womanists or they're for feminism, I am instantly tuned out, right? You sound like Charlie Brown's mama when you're talking to me at that point, because I know that you are stupid, because you're missing the most basic parts of where feminism come from. I'm leaving out the early 1800s with Elizabeth Cady Stanton. I'm leaving that out. I am going 120 years in the future. 150 years in the future. And I'm starting with Representative Martha Griffiths. And okay, let me calm down. I'm sorry. I get passionate about this because I get sick of us being blamed for things that we don't do when we're the only men trying to do the right thing. So sometimes when I pull up their own words, Barack can say, "Yeah, had Hillary up there looking stupid." I would not talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Hillary Clinton tonight. I would not, and Barack Obama. I'm not going because I'm not raising my blood pressure if I go to bed tonight. Okay, I'm not doing that. Right, just gonna have a conversation, and then we're gonna get off here, and I'm gonna have a good night. All right.
Therefore, we added sex. It is my belief that the drafters had assumed that no women would get any rights.
The drafters assumed that no women would get any rights, but with the Civil Rights Act of 1964 being passed, black women would receive rights. Why would black women receive rights that white women would not receive? Could it be due in part to the fact that black women are in a community where their men see them as equal? Could that be the case? Could it be something else? If it's something else, I would like for you to tell me what that something else is. Why would she say that in 1971 on camera, being recorded?
So that I think both white and black women were helped.
That last part. I'm gonna find the whole clip and tell y'all where to find it on YouTube. This whole interview is actually on YouTube, but it's actually worth watching. This just popped up in my feed today. Dr. Tommy Curry, if you do not follow him, Dr. Tommy Curry and Dr. Hassan Johnson are two people that black men should definitely follow, at least on Twitter, because they constantly post information that you guys can use, constantly reminding me of things that I've actually forgotten about, right? But what I want to point out is that, she's like, hey, white women don't have any rights, right? Black women would have rights. So what we did is we just piled in on and basically somehow convinced black women that they did not have rights, despite the fact that all of black women's rights would have came in effect with the Civil Rights Act of 1964, right? Title 7, Title 9, right? Title 9, most of us heard of because we watch college sports, collegiate sports. And one of the things that we know with collegiate sports is that Title 9 basically says that, hey, for every scholarship you give in male sports, you got to give the equal amount in women's sports, et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot deeper than that, right? But and here's the thing. I'm not even going to dive into how many people got rights from the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But what I do hope that you take from this tonight is the understanding is that the moment that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed, which according to her, right, it was just for blacks, right? Just for African Americans, just for the descendants of enslaved Africans that are coming out of apartheid in America, is that they piled a bunch of BS in on the back end. And then they made black men become the whipping boy, right? The stand-in, the boogeyman for oppression, right? So I want to make sure that my fellows understand tonight that you're not the oppressor. You're not the boogeyman for oppression. And that when you meet somebody, I just played 2 clips back to back to show you what mental illness look like, right? In the current society. So when you see that, to understand that you do not even have to engage in that conversation, because the person that you will argue with does not have your level of knowledge, your level of understanding, or even your egalitarian nature in order to protect, right? I just want you to get that, understand that, so you're not bamboozled, right? You're not gaslit. You're not told that, like, it's you're the problem. By and large, you have not been the problem in this country. There's a reason why the imagery of you is inner city Chicago kids that grow up without their fathers, right? Despite the fact that 65% of all blacks are from the DMV into the South. And out of that 65% of blacks that are in the DMV to the South, about 40% are college degree, right? Vast majority of black women work in government, right? You can't work in government if you wild as all get out, right? Most black men are in these areas are actually employed. Unemployment for black males compared to inner cities to the Bible Belt and the DMV is night and day, right? So again, one of the things that you guys I always tell y'all, all right, I'm not unbiased when it comes to black men, right? And the reason why I'm not unbiased is because every opportunity that we've had to see whether or not we're underachieving, right? Are we underachieving as fathers, right? Are we underachieving as husbands? We typically come in at the top. And we have to take that narrative back, because if we don't take that narrative back, right, the imagery of us will become inner city Chicago, mother raised home boys. And that's not who we are. And that's all I really got tonight. I'm gonna have to hop off here. Like I said, I gotta get kiddo to bed. But hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Appreciate y'all piling in. I will be on next week. I'll be out of town, but I'll be here. Same time. Might be a little bit briefer. But we should get the first travel vlog up after I leave out of town next week. Always feel free to hit us up at Black Dads Club. Always feel free to hit us up at IAM_Gavin B. Always feel free to hit us up at Pastor Mike Will on all platforms. Appreciate y'all